Welcome back to the Herbalist Hour. Today I'm very honored and excited to have on Pam Montgomery. Welcome to the show, Pam.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here.
Welcome to the Herbalist Hour. This is where community gather, merging the power of people and the flowers, the sweet and the bitter to the salty, the sour. Umami, it's time for the Herbalist Hour.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to know Pam a little bit more. I was reading on your website that your maternal grandmother fed your passion for living a co-creative life with nature, and that piqued my interest. So I was just kind of curious, how did your grandmother influence you?
Well, this is kind of a story. So you'll have to come sit by my fire here about for a minute. But my grandparents lived in the Appalachian part of Kentucky, so the eastern hills of Kentucky. And they were like, when you talk about salt of the earth people, that's what they were. They were like down home. And, it was like going there. So I went there in my summers. We lived in Southern Ohio and they were in Kentucky, so we could drive there. And I spent a fair amount of time in my summers with them. And it was like going back 100 years in time. I mean,
Wow.
neither one drove a car, didn't know how to drive, lived on the land, I had a mule that did the plowing. I mean, it was like grew all their own food. Once a month, somebody would come pick them up and drive them across the other side of the mountain to go to church, which is Southern Baptist. And if you've ever been to a Southern Baptist service, it is a rockin' event and goes all day. And it was, so they were just these amazing people. And my grandmother was a real plant person. And so in the South, you have your main meal at noontime. And so she'd be in the kitchen all morning preparing the meal, and then we'd eat it, and then she'd clean it up. But around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she'd come outside, and she had plants everywhere. And she had plants everywhere in the house and outside all over the place. And she'd be picking and pruning and doing all these things. But she'd be talking the whole time. And one time I went up to her and I said, Granny, who are you talking to? And, in her very Kentucky accent, she would say, well, plants are just like people. They need friends too. And I was like, oh, and so you talk to your friends, right? Yeah, you talk to your friends. So it was like this. And of course, everything grew like awesomely. So it was kind of, as I got older and kind of, started getting involved in the plant world, I just assumed that everybody talked to their plants because my grandmother did. So if she did, then surely, she
Right.
knows all. And then was kind of, my bubble was kind of burst when I found out that no, not really. I mean, there was a lot of book reading, and that's how people learn about plants. And I was like, oh, you mean you're not like in relationship with these plants? It was like, really? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing, being in relationship with them? So it was just, I felt like I got this jump start by
Mm.
having a grandmother that instilled in me that you absolutely need to be in a relationship with your plants. And it was funny because years later, my mother, of course, was the generation of get me off of this farm.
Right.
I'm going to lose my hillbilly accent. I'm going to get a college education and I'm out of here. That was her deal. And so she didn't want any part of it. And so we went, my grandparents had passed on. We went back. One of her older sisters lived at the farm afterwards. And so we went to visit her. And it was the springtime of the year. And I just was like, oh, why don't we go out and pick some spring greens to put in a salad? Why don't we do that, Mom? And so we did, and we went out, we picked some stuff, and I came back, and my Aunt Loretta, she was like, oh, Mommy and I used to go pick those. And she started naming things with the common name. Oh, there's sour grass, and there's white top, and there's da-da-da. And I went, and it was the first time I kind of went, doing, oing, 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 oing. Oh, my grandmother really knew these plants,
Mm.
knew which ones to eat. All of her 7 children were born at home. She knew these plants as medicine. She knew them. way better than, I was just kind of thinking, oh, she just talks to them, No, she had deep relationship with them, and I didn't get it until after she was already gone. And I was so young when I was going there that things didn't come like, I didn't get like cognitive information from her. It was kind of through osmosis.
Sure.
And but it just like hit me like, oh, okay, and these things do skip a generation. It's true.
Totally.
Oftentimes as they skip. And so that it skipped to me. And it just made me like, oh, I mean, I love this woman so much to begin with, but then it was just like, and then, well, like I said, this story could go on and on, but I'll wrap it up here.
Please continue. Yeah.
Was I started like, there was a point at Halloween. My husband and I, we were actually traveling up the coast of California, and we ended up at the Lost Coast in California. And I was
Yeah.
kind of, what makes it lost?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, why is it lost? Anyway, we ended up there, and it was Halloween. And and there was no place. We wanted to get something to eat, and there was no place to eat, because they closed the one major restaurant. They closed the doors early because everybody wanted to go to the Halloween party that was happening, nearby, and so they had to hurry up and get done with serving people. So we ended up at this kind of like funky place to eat, plastic tablecloths and stuff like that. And it turned out that the woman who owned the place was from Paintsville, Kentucky, which was right over the hill. And I was like, wait a minute. And and it's Halloween, mind you, time of the ancestors. And I was like, you're from where? And I said, oh, did you know the Prestons? And she said, oh, yeah, that. And I said, well, that was my grandparents. Oh, honey, we be long lost cousins. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm on the Lost Coast in California at Halloween, and this is a long lost cousin. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my God. And it was just kind of that little whispering,
Totally.
of like, here was my grandmother, that little whisper of like, wherever you are, there I am, like, I was just like, so anyway, long story short, I started kind of receiving messages from her. And so whenever I'm just like, whenever I'm in doubt, or whenever that little thing creeps in of like, yeah, what are you doing? What about that? I'll just say, hey, Granny, what do you think about this? And I'll get a dream or something, or that daydream thing, where all those things go marching across your radar screen. Anyway, she has been the major influence in my life of why I'm where I'm at right now.
That's
So
so powerful. What
yeah,
an amazing story. By the
yeah.
way, did you ever find out why they called it the Lost Coast? When I've been there, I want to say it's always super foggy, overcast. Maybe that's why, but
I was like, I feel like I'm found here. I mean, why
yeah.
are we lost? I think it's just because I think Highway 1, it juts out from, Highway 1's coming down, and which just goes along the coast, except for
Sure.
this part of it. And where
Gotcha.
it's kind of a jut out, and you got to go down to the Lost Coast. You got to get off Highway 1 and drive this very windy road down to it. And then you're down there, and there's not much there. So I don't know why they call it Lost, but yeah, we just kind of took out the map, and we looked at the map, and we said, Lost Coast. We just kind of went, let's go here. We did. And, there was a long lost cousin there.
Amazing. Where are you based now, Pam?
I'm in Vermont.
Gotcha. Oh, I'll be in Vermont in June. Maybe we can
Oh,
link
well,
up at some point.
it's
Yeah.
good to be here in June instead of January.
That's right. Well, I'm in
Unless you love
Wisconsin.
cold.
Right, right. No, I'm in Wisconsin, also plenty cold.
Oh,
By the way, I want to welcome, we've got 6 people joining us right now. So thank you so much for joining us for the
awesome.
live podcast.
Awesome.
Amazing. Well, I like to hear lineages of herbalists. And besides your grandma, did you have any other major mentors to teach you?
Well, yeah, I've spent some time with Susan Weed in my day, and I've spent some time with a fair amount of time with Rocio Alacarn from Ecuador, and she's been an amazing teacher as well, and very dear to my heart. I've spent so much time with, Rosemary's a dear Gladstar. I think if I say
Yep.
Rosemary, everybody knows who I'm
Totally. Yep.
talking about. she was never like a teacher of mine, but she is, because she's just, how can she not be? She's just such a wise woman. And she and I have spent lots of time together, just being friends. She lives in Vermont too. So,
Yep.
um,
That's who I'll be visiting actually. So yeah.
oh, you're going to visit Rosemary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
When's that?
Mid-June is
In
the
June.
plan. Yep. So
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
Hey, cool.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
pumped.
Yeah, no, she's got a gorgeous place right on the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Well, Juliet de Barclay Levy is too. When she was still alive, she used to come to the Green Nations gatherings that I hosted, that conference. I used to organize that conference way back when, and she would come, because she would come there, and she would come. I lived in the Hudson Valley part of New York in those days, and she would come and stay. And I remember, she was such a dear heart. One morning, and she was a tiny woman. She was a short little woman, and she was actually staying in my daughter's bedroom, and this bedroom faced, we lived right on the Hudson River, and it faced the Hudson River. And I just happened to, like, the door was kind of cracked open, and I kind of happened to walk past the bedroom one morning, and here she was. She had all the windows like way open, and the breeze was coming in, and it was early morning, and here she was standing over, and she had this little, like, spaghetti strap, like, little cotton t-shirt on.
Sure.
It was probably like her exercise clothing, and she was standing in front of the window going, the rest of her body. It was just going like this, and I was just like, oh, Juliet's doing her exercises.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she
That's
was
awesome.
another one that was, another
Yeah.
dear. Yeah. So, and I, hang out with all the herbalists that I possibly can. We have garlic queens. Have you heard about the garlic queens?
I have. Rosemary mentioned it.
Okay. Well, but
Yeah.
we've got West Coast garlic queens, and we've got
Okay.
East Coast garlic queens. And somehow Rosemary and I are part of both of these groups. Well,
Okay.
started the
Well,
whole
she has
thing.
roots in
She gets to
California.
be that, but
Yeah.
somehow I got involved in both of them. So,
Okay.
so we try to hang out at least once a year. So I was just with the West Coasters. Let's see, when was that? That was was it the spring or the fall? Anyway, we were together, and then we'll get together probably in August here in Vermont up at Rosemary's. Anyway, so those are all herbalists, and you get a crowd of herbal women
Oh
in the
yeah.
room, and watch out, because there's some stories that go down that Rosemary's threatening to write a book about it
Yep. I heard that when she was on the Herbalist Hour, she mentioned that. So
and change
yeah.
the names to protect the innocent.
Right. I have a feeling Pam Montgomery is one of them.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of a party girl by nature, and
Okay.
although I'm not such a partier anymore. I was, seriously, when I was younger, but I still have to, like, I have the role of being kind of the outrageous one,
Okay.
and so yeah, I have that reputation.
Just a quick break from the show to thank our presenting sponsor, Oshala Farm. Oshala Farm is a beautiful and vibrant certified organic herb farm based in Southern Oregon, where they grow and sell over 80 different plant species. The founders, Elise and Jeff Higley, have been longtime friends, so I highly trust their growing methods and ethics. You'll love the potency and vibrancy of all the herbs they have to offer. To learn more and purchase their herbs and other organic goods, head to oshalafarm.com. So thanks once again to Oshala Farm for sponsoring the Herbalist Hour. Now back to the show. Enjoy. Let's talk a little bit about an upcoming course you have. It's called Co-Creative Partnership with Nature Mentorship Program.
Yes.
And just kind of to kick things off, can you define what a co-creative partnership is and what that means?
Well, it's kind of like what the words sound like.
Yep.
It's that I'll use plants. I mean, we're talking about all of nature. So, but plants and trees are a very large percentage of that. So we'll talk about plants, since this is called the Herbalist Hour.
Yeah. Thank you.
So the thing of it is that we're already in relationship with plants. It's not like we have to work to be in relationship with the plants. I mean, you and I are sitting here breathing. So
Right.
Therefore, we're in relationship with plants. And so it's just a given that we're already in relationship. But once you take that breath and bring it into, jump it up a few notches and bring it into conscious awareness. And you become aware that you are breathing in the breath of another being, i.e. plants and trees and sea vegetables. And then you're exhaling and they are breathing in your exhale. When you bring it kind of to that level, that we wouldn't be here talking to each other if it wasn't for plants, period. There's no other oxygen on the planet except that what comes from plants and trees and sea vegetables. I hope that everybody, all your audience knows that. The point here is that that's a given. And when we move into a partnership, now that's when you start to take that relationship and build it into that where we're like homies. We are partners in life, and co-create. And so what that means when you're a partner with somebody, it's equal. This is an equal partnership. I'm not better. Plants are not better. Yes, they give me my life, and I'm being reciprocal by giving them some breath as well. Not that they don't have other sources on this planet than my out breath, but still there's a participation. So we're in an equal partnership. That means that that's the co part. It's equal, and we can create together. So the idea is that we co-create together a balanced manifestation where all life can thrive. That's basically it. And we do that together. We work that out together. And then the mentorship part, of course, is that in this course, I pay attention to people. They have access to me, and I pay attention. And if they're struggling or having a hard time with any of the course content, we do one-on-one sessions. I mean, it's a pretty amazing course, and it's long. It's 8 months, but it's and you get a module each month that has several lessons in it, and it's kind of a combo of videos and spoken things, demonstrations. Some of them are journey type things. And then we have what's called independent explorations. It's a very nice way of saying homework.
Yeah.
This is where you take the lessons, and then, there's some questions that are asked of you, or instruction to, okay, now go out and do this. This is what this is what your lesson was. Now go out and do it. And so the independent explorations are where they get to actually practice what's in the course. And you have lifetime access. It doesn't go away. It doesn't, and it doesn't really matter if people are like, oh, I'm so behind. No. There's no such thing as behind. You just, you're going as you can and as your life allows. It's nice to kind of keep up with it, because then it keeps you engaged and all that. But you can go as you need to, because you have lifetime access. So you'll never lose it. And we have live Q&As where everybody comes together, asks questions. We have live meetups where you come together and you get this kind of little more intimate sharing of your experiences and your stories. And we have bonus material where other teachers come in.
That's cool.
Do videos and teachers. So it's a lot of resources provided as well. And it's all about co-creative partnership with nature, which is what we're talking about here today, about going deeper in your communication with any part of nature, but especially plants and trees. Each module has a plant or tree that goes with it. And it's people from all over the globe. This year we always have a few Australians, but we have Singapore, we have Vietnam. And I'm like, oh, Vietnam,
that's cool.
South Africa. I mean, so people from all over the globe who are really interested in the material and really craving to learn, and you get to interact with them. We're on Mighty Networks, which is a platform, a private social media platform, where you get to interact with other students and with me and with other team members. So it's a pretty amazing course, and people come away from it just feeling like their life has changed. And their relationship with nature and plants, especially a lot of plant people in this course, even though it's not a plant course per se, but you know me, I mean, I can't do anything without talking about plants. So anyway, that's basically what the course is about, and it's starting soon.
Yeah, coming up. It was like May 8th or something, or
May 6th is
May 6th,
the first module drops on May 6th. So,
So can
however, we
folks
are going to give
register?
people, we're going to give them a grace week because some people are like,
Okay.
oh, wait, I don't have it together yet. Wait. So we'll have a grace week, but the course will begin on the 6th.
So lifetime access, self-paced, but since you drop a new module every month, are those kind of associated with the seasons, or how does that work?
Not really.
Not
No,
necessarily.
it's
Okay, cool.
really, it really kind of follows the co-creative partnership map, so to speak, that
Okay.
I have put together. And so it kind of follows that, and it starts. So, well, that's a very good question. It starts really basic
Mm.
because when you're doing a course, you've got a wide range of participation. So you've got on one end of the spectrum, you've got know nothing. On the other end of the spectrum has been doing this kind of stuff for 15, 20 years, and there's been people that have been communicating with plants and working in this way that have been in the course just because they're like, just want to get a few more gems, want to get a few more, like, just want to see how other people are doing this. And so they've participated in the course, and a couple of them are quite they're quite adept at this kind of work. But it means that you got to speak to the lowest common denominator. So you got to start with the know nothing and move from there. So we start right from scratch. We start from the basics, and then it progresses from there. So each module is like another progressive step till we get to the point where I think module 8 is called raising consciousness or something like that. But we're moving through it, and so there may be some things that you feel like, oh, been there, done that. I know. Oh, I know that. I won't listen to that. I won't listen to that lesson. However, my experience is, because I do online courses, and I try to pay attention to what other people are teaching and doing. And I might come across something and say, oh, yeah, I've done that. But everybody's talking about it a little different. You're going to come at it from a different angle than I'm going to come at it. And there's always gems. There's always gems. And I always pick up beautiful gems from other teachers. So my recommendation to people is you probably do know some of this stuff already if you've been working in this way, but I would just encourage you to just check it out, just, to pick up a couple of those gems. So anyway.
So well said. I mean, I took the Columbine School of Botanical Studies in Eugene, Oregon, took a ton away from that 2-year apprenticeship. And then a couple years later, I took the Arcto School of Botanical Medicine up in Portland. And although they had similar training, I still put A, repetition is the key to mastery. And then B, you do pick up new gems from the different teachers. Like, I want to say Arcto School had a little more mycology and tree studies, as opposed to the Columbine's more focusing on just the herbs. So could not agree more. I always tell folks the learning never stops when you're an herbalist. So nor should it.
And I mean, so many plants, so little time. I mean, there's so much to learn. And I just, in the last 2 winters, and now it's going to be my winter home, is Belize. So I've been in Belize the last 2 winters. Oh my goodness. There's a whole new slew of plants and trees. Yeah. And I'm like, everybody's like, oh, you know these plants. I'm like, no, I don't. So anyway, it's like, I feel like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, here I am with all these new plants and trees, and it's just, yeah.
Learning never stops.
It never stops. It's so exciting. I have cashew trees in my yard.
Wow. And
it's like, my friend who's still down there, she just sent me all these pictures of harvesting the cashews, which is quite the process. But it's not just that little salty nut. They have fruit that you make juice from. I mean, like, she sent me pictures of the juice, and I was like, how does that taste? And she's like, I was like, who knew that I'd be drinking cashew juice? Because next year, in the morning, she was showing me sending me these pictures. It was 20 degrees here in the morning in Vermont. And I was like, in my head, it should be spring in Vermont in April, but in my body, 20 degrees, that's not really warm enough.
Right.
I think I'll be in Belize harvesting cashews. That's what I'm trying to say, next year in April.
Good call. Yeah, I don't blame you at all for doing that. Well, you have these basic tenets of co-creative partnership. I was hoping we could go over some of them as time allows. By the
Okay.
way, again, for those that are joining us live, feel free to leave anything in the chat or the Q&A segment. If you have any questions for Pam, that'd be awesome. If not, we'll just keep it rolling here.
Okay.
But let's go over some of the basic tenets of co-creative partnership.
Okay. Well, let's do
So
your favorite one.
yeah, so I was
No.
really drawn to the self-love at a core level. If you want to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, basically speaking, I mean, I feel like in order to love another, which is what you're going to do here in a partnership. I mean, we're talking like a partnership, like a partnership. And so love is involved. And if you don't love yourself, then how can you really love another? So I feel like it's really important to kind of understand what this whole self-love means. And so, okay, let me think. How deep do we go with this one? Um, okay. I'll keep it understandable
Sure.
and not too lengthy. But basically, everything's vibration. Everything, everything is vibration. I mean, the computer, the desk, all of it has a molecular structure that vibrates. Everything has a vibratory resonance, and it might not be as much of a resonance like a sound you might hear, but it definitely has a resonance. And that resonance, that vibratory resonance affects us. We have a vibratory resonance. And then there's the whole resonance of your thoughts and your emotions, da 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 da, on and on and on and on. And it's all energy. It's all energy that vibrates. So when you surround yourself with bad vibes, things you don't like, don't make you feel good. I mean, it could be for me. I have a couple sons that used to live in New York City, and I could last about 3 days was tops.
Mm.
I would start to get, it was like overload my nervous system, and I couldn't handle it. It would be like I'd start to even shake. I'd be like, okay, time to go. And because I'm a country girl and I need nature around me. So those vibrations did not work for me. I would not say it made me feel good. It didn't sustain me. It didn't, uplift me. I mean, it was okay. I mean, there was lots of good food there, and, there was fun museums to go to, and, a couple clubs, maybe not that, we went to a comedy club one time. That was pretty funny. But anyway, so we all have what nourishes us. We have the vibrations that nourish us. So a nice long walk in the woods really nourishes me. We have a stream that runs through the middle of our property. That nourishes me. We have spring water that comes out of the ground. We have wild water. It's like rare to have wild water nowadays, meaning water that comes straight out of the ground that you can drink. And so that wild water also, and it's moving water. That's what makes it wild water, is moving water that comes out of the ground. And our cells, of course, are surrounded by moving water. When you drink wild water that's of that nature, your cells go, woohoo, wow, I recognize you. Yo, that's good. That's a good vibration for your body because your body recognizes it. So the idea is you surround yourself with that which makes you feel good, good vibes. That saying, good vibes, it's not just a hippy dippy, thing. It's for real. It's for real. When you surround yourself with good vibes, then you're nourished. When you surround yourself with the vibes that you don't like, when you're in a relationship that doesn't work, when you live somewhere that you don't like, when you go to a job that you hate, on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and you surround your life with vibes that are like, that didn't feel very good. And you come home at night or whatever, and you just like, your shoulders slump, your energy's drained. Whereas if you surround yourself with that which really nourishes you and makes you feel good, then it's uplifting. It gives you energy. You're filled with energy. So, and that's every down to the nth degree. Who you hang out with, the music you listen to, the clothes that you wear, the food that you eat, the water that you drink, where you go to work. Does it make you feel good? Is your livelihood that which is like, the plants you hang out with, the plants you hang out with.
Love orchids.
I know, me too. God, the orchids in Belize.
Oh, I bet. And they're growing wild.
Oh, they're all over the place. They're just like dripping out of the trees.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so, and then of course, somebody might say to me, well, easy for you to say, you talk to flowers for a living. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I got a pretty good gig going. It's pretty good. Yeah. So, this is the only job I can get, and I got to feed these 5 kids. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but my experience has been just start with one thing, bring something into the job that you are kind of like, I'm in this little cubicle all day long and I'm kind of get claustrophobic in here. And so you bring in a beautiful plant to sit on the corner of your desk, and you water it and you nourish it and you talk to it and say, thank you so much for being here and bringing a little brightness into my life here inside this cubicle. Thank you so much. And once the ball starts to roll, the next thing you know is like, oh, you got moved from the cubicle over to the side there where there's this big long line of windows. And you can look out the window and, oh, there's a park out the window with beautiful trees. And you can see the children playing in the park. And there's grass and there's flowers, wildflowers. So the point here is that, yes, maybe you find yourself in a situation or in a circumstance that's not nourishing. So just begin one step at a time to bring that which nourishes you into that milieu, into that landscape, into that environment. And what happens is that it's like an echo. And this is what I notice within all of nature, is that there's like an echo or a mirroring, or it's like once you make the decision that you're going to start bringing nourishing things into your life and you're going to nourish yourself to the point at which you just love yourself so much, you're going to do that. The universe responds. Nature responds. The plants respond, because these plants, they got your back. They're not out to get you. None of that. We're like their little sisters and brothers, because we've been here a much shorter amount of time than they have. They've been here for like such a long time. They got that long view. And so they want us to succeed. And because we're a part of this, well, see, I can just rattle on and on and on about all this stuff.
I'm hanging on every word. I love it.
Okay. So, we're part of the Trinity. We're part of the nature Trinity, the human. So, okay. Co-create a partnership with nature answers 2 big questions. Who am I? And what am I doing here? This is not rocket science. This is just because we've fallen into this deep amnesia. We've forgotten who we are on this planet, because the separation from nature, which actually started, it turns out it wasn't 6,000 years ago when agriculture began. It was more like 12, because of the new excavations and everything at the temple in Turkey, the Göbekli Tepe. Yeah, 12,000 years where agriculture was invented, quote unquote. That's a quote. Invented there. And so we're talking this separation began at that time where we went from, the wild to things being domesticated. And so that's when it began. And then it went on and on and on, empire building and, land became resources and on to where this separation from nature is almost complete. And we have so forgotten that we are actually our nature. We're part of nature. We've forgotten that. We've fallen into this deep amnesia. And so what we're doing in this co-creative partnership and this work with the plants and coming into this place of loving ourselves so much that we're going to surround ourselves with good vibes. And if we don't have good vibes around us, we're going to start the ball to roll so that eventually we get to the place where we are surrounded that way and we're fully nourished. To me, self-love, real self-love, is nourishing yourself at the nth degree on every single level. So this other big piece here with co-creative partnership with nature and this course is about remembering who we are, which are in the Trinity. Okay, I got to talk about that for a minute. The Trinity.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that actually.
Okay, the Trinity is, there's lots of Trinities, of course, as you know, but this nature Trinity is plants and trees, nature spirits and elementals, and humans/animals. That's the Trinity. Those are the three aspects of the Trinity. Plants and trees have been holding down the fort, been taking care of stuff, taking care of business here. Nature spirits, kind of went on retreat, kind of be like, oh, I'm out of here. Need a little more respect than that. Need a little more care than that. Out of here. And humans fell off the cart a long time ago. So what we're doing here is coming back into remembering who we are, being good, keyword, good stewards on this planet. What's a steward? A manager, a caretaker, being good stewards on this planet. That's our role within nature, is to be good stewards, working hand in hand with the nature spirits for balanced manifestation. So remembering. So that's what we're doing in this course, is remembering that we are a part of nature, remembering who we are and what we're doing here, and letting nature be that mirror, like mirror on the wall. It's like, who am I? Yeah. You look at nature and nature mirrors back to you your incredible light, beauty, ability to be in self-love, which means that you can love completely and have compassion. So, yeah, self-love.
So much good stuff there. Yeah, it actually, you could give more and love others more and the world more when you have practiced self-love and your cup overfloweth, as they say. And just to give you a little brief background about myself, when I was in my late teens, I was really struggling, going through really dark times, and I kind of took it upon myself to start creating some self-care routines. And a lot of that you mentioned music. I stopped listening to really negative music. I changed my diet. I changed the books I was reading. I took certain things down from the walls that were like not, contributing to my mental well-being, started adding more plants, and just slowly but surely I was incrementally like creating a space for myself where I was just getting more and more positivity and self-love, if you will. So
you started loving yourself.
It was
I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I am worth it. I am worth it to love myself so much. Let's bring in the stuff that made me feel really good.
Absolutely. And
that's why I stopped. I unsubscribed to all political stuff. Don't put that in my inbox right now.
That's step one.
No more. I don't care. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. No.
Amen.
None.
Pam, I couldn't agree with you more.
Oh, jeez. Let's not get into that one, because that you can really go down a rabbit hole with that one. Whew. Anyway.
All right. Well, we won't go down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
In fact, we have a question from the audience. Amarensk De Jong, if I'm saying that correctly, asks, I connect and speak with plants, flowers, trees, and animals quite easily, but still I feel very deeply depressed, maybe because of the contrast with the other stuff that is going on in the world. Do you have any suggestions how to handle this?
Well, like I said, stop reading the news. That's number
Social
one.
media.
social media news, all of that, because it's like we're living in an alternate reality, and our reality is not the alternate one. It's the one. It's okay.
It's
All
like
right.
medicine versus alternative medicine. Which one's the real medicine?
um, yes, there is a lot out there these days that is worrisome, for sure. On the other hand, there's a lot also out there that's awesome and amazing. And so, which wolf are you gonna feed? I mean, it's that old story. It's like, so I'm really choosing to feed that which gives me life, that which supports life. I'm choosing to feed that. And it is a choice, because that's one of the interesting gigs that goes along with being human, is free will and choice. We have to choose this. And so I have to choose to do the work that I do. And I have to choose to sit here and talk to Mason about it and share it with you. And, I mean, everybody else would like, I'm not going to talk about everybody else, but I'll keep talking about myself. I'm choosing to eliminate, one of my pieces of work right now is eliminating warring language, eliminating the language out of my speech. I'm not going to be killing time anymore. It's like, what? Where did that expression come from? So I'm really looking closely at my language, because I don't want to participate in war. Ain't going to do war no more. I'm not going to do it. I'm holding out for peace on earth. And I do believe that it's possible, but it's going to be possible as a massive amount of people choosing it. So we have to choose this. We have to choose games for our children where all the game parts aren't fighting each other. I said to my little grandson the other day, I said, do the guys cooperate with each other ever? I mean, so I'm choosing to engage with interbeing. Interbeing is a term coined by mostly Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Vietnamese monk. And it means connectedness, that we're all connected. Interbeing means that we're all connected, and that we're interdependent. We need each other, and we need the non-human world as well. And so, and the other piece of this is that now we're able to be super aware of our actions and the effect they have on the rest of, the world. Almost instantaneously, we can find that out. So this whole notion of interbeing, I'm choosing to engage in interbeing, which of course is a very big part of co-creative partnership, connection, making the connection. So let's see, what can I say to you? I would say that I think it's beautiful that you can make the connection with these nature aspects, with animals, with plants, with trees, probably water as well, which is another lovely aspect of nature. And that let your energy go towards that, feeding that, instead of your energy going toward that which does not serve you or the rest of life. Because part of the co-creative partnership is, that which makes life thrive. And we're not talking just survive. We're going beyond survival. We want to thrive. And this is absolutely possible. As a matter of fact, the new earth that many people are speaking about right now already exists. It's just that humans haven't quite caught up with the timeline of the new earth. We're on our way, but we're not there yet. So it already exists. Look at nature. And I know, climate change, blah, 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 all that. I know, I get it. And it can be devastating in places. Just to be clear, the earth has been changing since day one, and it's going to continue to change. We happen to have been in a cycle of the last few hundred or so years that's been pretty mild, pretty like easy going. And now we're going to be entering into a different phase where it's not going to be necessarily as easy going as it's been. This earth has been through this cycle so many times. And here we are. Look at all these plants and trees outside your door. They know what they're doing. They don't have to figure out anything. They just need to be themselves. That's what humans need to come around to. We need to learn how to be ourselves. Good stewards on this planet. Good stewards. Yes, we're contributing right now. Yes, we're contributing. This separation from nature is contributing to the chaos on the planet right now. Absolutely. The planet, we wouldn't have this so much, let's put it that way. We wouldn't have so much of this going on if we were in unity, if we were in interbeing, if we were living in interbeing with nature, that we wouldn't be in this, environmental, ecological, and crisis right now. And existential, that's the other one, crisis, the 3 E's. And so, I would just encourage you to feed that which gives life, which makes life live. One of my dear heart main teachers is Martin Brechtel, and he would say, jump up and live again. But we're going to jump up and live again. 13 thank yous. So, Mason and I were speaking earlier, and we were saying how when we kind of get in, because this amnesia is a slippery slope, by the way. You can fall into it real easy. And so what do it happens to me. What do I do? I go to, I have places I call sit spots, that spot that's just like your spot. Go to that spot, and I'm just like, and I ask for help. I'm like, I've got my allies, my white pine tree. I'm like, I need help right now. I need help right now because I am not, I'm not managing well. I need help. And white pine for me is tower of strength, like tower of strength. And I'm like, I need help. So I just ask. I ask those ones that you communicate with so well. Ask for help. I'm having such a hard time right now with what's going on in the world and the devastation, and I'm feeling depressed, and I need a little more lightness in my life. Help me, please. How can you possibly help me? And oh, by the way, what can I do for you too? Because we need to be in reciprocity. So anyway, I hope this helps a little bit. I know we're living in very challenging times. However, the astrology, what's going on in the heavens, right, this year and going into 2025 is actually very supportive of what some are calling the quantum leap that we've all kind of been waiting for. It's the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction that just happened. It just happened. It went direct on the 20th of April. And so, but we're with it all. Anyway, we're having a lot of support. We're having a lot of support from the cosmos as well. So the cosmic beings are also like here, like, okay, come on, we can do this. We can do this. All right. That was kind of a long answer for that question, but hopefully you got some of that.
Yeah. Lots of words of wisdom there. And they actually responded, I long for the new earth so desperately. I understand what you were saying. Thank you for reminding us. And yeah, it's just all about remembering. So I did also want to point out on your website, wakeuptonature.com, on the Creative Partnership with Nature page, you actually have a quote from Lao Tzu, also Thich Nhat Hanh, which you were talking about interbeing. But the Lao Tzu quote is, if you want to awaken all of humanity, then awaken all of yourself. If you want to eliminate the suffering in the world, then eliminate all that is dark and negative in yourself. Truly the greatest gift you can give is that of your own self-transformation. And that's, again, like when I was going through those changes, trying to like wake up and just not be so sad and depressed all the time, it came to my realization that I had to love myself and change myself if I wanted to produce anything good in the world. And yeah, I mean, I don't have all the answers for everything that's happening in the world right now, but I figure the best I could do is tidy up my little corner of the world and do the best I can, and forgive myself and forgive others, and just try to live a loving and helpful life.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do is what you can do yourself. Yeah. And of course, when you do that, it's like the pebble in the pond is like goes out and out and out and out, and you're good vibe energy touches other people, and they're like, "Ooh, he was fun to be around. That was good. Maybe I could catch some of his vibe," that kind of thing. And so another piece of this that that's right now, it's like, especially here in this country, and others too,
Yeah.
for sure. The us and them thing. Whew, oh God, it feels like, God, it's so like exhausting. It's like, when are we going to get over that one? I mean, when it just feels archaic to me that we continue. Oh, well, it's not my problem. It's them.
Right.
They're the problem. And it's just like, ay, 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 ay. Come on, everybody.
Yeah. I know.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, lots to think about there. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about plants?
Plants, yay!
And
I love plants.
in your module one, I want to say you said there's a different plant for each module, and I want to say in module one, there's the maple tree, and I was curious how do you choose the different plants associated with each module, and do you have any sort of love or affinity for the maple tree itself?
Oh, well, of course.
That's a
Comes from
rhetorical question.
trees.
I should say, what is your fondness and love for maple tree? I'd love to hear it.
Well, here's the thing. These plants and these trees, I mean, they're not just like do one thing. Like, they're not just here for one thing. I mean, they're quite magnanimous beings, and they cover lots of territory. Okay, so here's the thing about the plants and trees that are connected with the modules, is that they're examples, they're mine, they're ones that I work with, and they're examples of something that's happening in the lesson. So, and what I need to make sure everybody knows is that they're examples. It doesn't mean, I mean, everybody's like, oh, but I don't have maple trees where I live in South Africa, for example. I don't have a maple tree. Well, okay, but you've got a tree there that is going to be supportive to you in the lessons that are happening. So, so that's what I encourage everybody to do. And don't worry, there's also a way for you to learn in the course how to do that.
That's cool.
How do you discover who it is that does similar types of things? You start by asking. Maple. Well, it comes back to kind of part of what we were talking about already. It's Mama Maple. And I had this one woman she's actually a friend of mine, and she's midwife. And she told me this whole story about the Mama Maple song, and that she received a song from Maple about birthing. And so she used to sing this song during her births. And so anyway, so maple is, I mean, it's, oh gosh, there's so much. It's carries that mama energy. So it carries that mother energy. And it's like maple, I almost like the sap better than I do the syrup. I mean, syrup's great on everything almost, but the sap in the spring, when it comes out of the tree, it's like, to me, that's the best spring tonic you could ever drink, is maple sap. So it's super nourishing. And it's not just physically nourishing, but it's nourishing on all these levels, because you're getting that, you're kind of getting wrapped with like mother love kind of thing. And then you're getting this sweet, 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 sweet nectar. So it's just the sweetness of life. It's just like puts you right in the sweetness of life. And so you're not in the yuck of life. You're in the sweetness of life, being held. It's safety, it's sacredness, it's nourishment. So self-love at the core level, nourishment. Maple is, and there's lots of it here in Vermont.
Oh yeah. Yeah, is there anything better than on like a warm summer day, hanging out, like lying down underneath a maple tree?
No, nothing better. And in the fall in Vermont, these maple trees, woohoo, do they light up everything. It's unbelievable. I always feel like fall is like, it's like all the trees like dress up for, like, it's like the last like big
Totally.
And it's like
Last
they're
ball
going to a
before the
gala
winter.
ball or something, and they're all dressed up in orange and red and yellow, and they're so brilliant and so like almost like your eyes are like, whoa, look how bright that tree is. So yeah, and the maples are super. I mean, there's sugar maples, which is what the sap, the maple syrup comes from it. But then there's red maples, there's a silver maples, there's all kinds of maples, and they're magnificent. Anyway, it's
In
one.
Oregon, we had the big leaf maple, the Acer macrophyllum. I love that tree. Now we've moved to Wisconsin, so I know there's sugar maples around here, lots of maple syrup.
Yeah,
But
you got lots of maple syrup there.
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
So Chad says, I love doing plant sits to resonate with the plants or trees. Absolutely, Chad, no doubt. Um, well, we talked about sit spots. Do you have time to chat a little bit about altars and altar creation?
Sure. You know me.
Do you like to talk, Pam?
I like to talk, so I'm good. So, okay. What I feel about sit spots is like maybe some of you, you've heard the term energy spots. And I mean, there's some of the biggies. A lot of the sacred sites are power spots. They're big time energy there. Usually has to do with a crossing of ley lines or synchronic lines. There's ley lines, which are the earth lines, and then there's synchronic lines, which actually are lines that also go through the heavens and go through other planets and also enter into the earth. And there's places where those synchronic lines cross, and those are super duper power spots. Anyway, but they're all over the place. I mean, there's power spots all over the place. And so what I do for a sit spot, and it can be, again, you don't have to have like lots of acreage to find a sit spot. I mean, you go out in your yard, there's some spot there that's going to draw you. And the geomancers would probably get out their little divining rods and say, oh, here's a spot you want to sit. You don't really need to do that. You just need to pay attention. Pay attention to where you're drawn to. It's like a magnet that draws you in. What are you attracted to? And so that's what I would say with sit spots for people when they're discovering their sit spot. What attracts you? What kind of like draws you in? And go there and just and it's just let yourself feel the energy there. Let yourself feel what it feels like to be there. And again, it's you want your energy, you want to be, you want to feel like you're full of energy, like it gives you energy, not drain your energy, but give you energy. And so oftentimes you'll see it in your posture. You can see it in your posture. Do you kind of slump, or do you stand tall and straight and shoulders back and kind of like, oh yeah. Yeah. So, and I have a few different ones. I have of course, I have a particular garden that I have a sit spot in that I like. I have a spot by the stream that's a sit spot that I really like this one. This one sit spot by the stream. I really like it. I have a sit spot underneath the pine tree, big white pine tree. There's a sit spot underneath there. Those are three biggies for me. And then further up the mountain, there's a spot that my husband and I call it. We were just wandering one day. Oh, I love it when you can just wander and you don't have an agenda and you're not headed somewhere. You just wander. And
like a Zoom call.
Yeah, right. And we just ended up in this spot, and there was like a big rock kind of outcrop kind of thing, and there was just all this drippy water coming down and all this moss, and it was just like, there's all these awesome plants growing around it, and there was this water coming down, and we were like, and there was all these ferns, and it was just kind of like, we were like, oh, and we started calling it the magic spot. And so even now we'll say, like, my husband's the morels are about to start, like they usually start right at the beginning of May. Happy Beltane, by the way, everybody. Today
That's
is
right. Happy Beltane. That's right.
Day. And he'll say, well, let's head up to the magic spot. Let's see what kind of mushrooms are growing up there. So the minute, we both know, oh, the magic spot, we know exactly where it is. We know how to get there. And so anyway, we have spots like that. So I would say, where are you attracted to? And then let yourself just feel the energy in that spot. And if you're attracted to it, 9 times out of 10, that's your sit spot. That's your power spot. And are there ley lines crossing there? Are there extra kinds of underground water courses, da, 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 any of that? Maybe. But what's important is that it feels good to you. So it's a place that needs to feel good to you. So that's a sit spot. And it can be anywhere, I mean, I love sitting on we've got this tiny little front porch, faces east. And we love in the summertime to sit we have 2 chairs there. We sit on the porch and watch the sunrise. So that we really like that spot to sit, to watch the sunrise. And so is that a sit spot? We spend a lot of time there.
You vibe with it.
Yeah, we vibe with it. So what I'm trying to say is you don't have to have like a whole bunch of land. It can be simple, and it can be right there. I mean, if you're in a city, because I get that question a lot. Well, what about urban dwellers? Maybe you've got like awesome potted plants on your fire escape, and it's really great to sit out there with them. Or maybe you've got a park just down the way a little bit, and you can go and you've got this great tree that you love, and you want to sit with your back up against that. Yeah. People say, well, but people will walk by me and watch me. Well, that's okay. 9 times out of 10, they'll come over and say, because one of the things that my students do is they go and breathe. They exchange breath with the trees or with the plants. And so they have to go to a park if they live in a city or something like that, and they'll be breathing with this tree. And this one woman said, she said, this guy came up and he said, excuse me, what are you doing? And she said, well, I'm just breathing, like with this tree. He said, really? So she explained the whole, oxygen, carbon dioxide exchange thing with him. And he was like, oh, you mean I could do that? She was like, yes, would you like to join me? So I'm telling you,
that's
when
so
people
cool.
find out what you're doing, they're like, oh yeah, me too. So anyway, so sit spots, yes. And then you might want to take it a step further, and you might want to make an earth altar at one of your sit spots. So I have little earth altars, and little earth altars are, I'm mostly putting things on the earth altars that are from the earth. Although, there's a couple like rose quartz might end up on one or something, some special stone that I like, or, anyway, so you can make earth altars. And so then the altar is, I'm sitting here, I'm sitting at my desk and I'm looking in front of me, and in front of me, I have 6. I have 6 altars in front of me. Each one is for kind of something a little bit different. So altars are a physical creation of between you and your nature allies, or it could be, you could have an ancestor altar that would be dedicated to your ancestors. You can have all different kinds of altars, which I do. And so, but what goes on the altar are things that are meaningful to you. I like to acknowledge the directions, the 4 cardinal directions, and I like to acknowledge the above and the below, the heaven and the earth, and then the center. So I like to acknowledge all 7 directions on my altar because it's very meaningful to me to work in that way as kind of quasi part of the medicine wheel, but it's really just the directions that I want to honor. And the elements, the earth, air, fire, and water, I want to honor those elements. So I oftentimes will have something that, and I hate to use the word representation because it's more than that. My altars are living beings. So what is on the altar is a living being too. It's not a representation. So, and whatever it is that goes onto your altar comes to you in different ways. And it's hard for me to tell you what's going to go on your altar because I'm not you. And so it's what's meaningful to you, or maybe it's something that's been handed down to you through your ancestral line, and that's important. And you want that to go on your ancestor altar. I have a little tiny hoe, like a little miniature hoe. It's like literally like, I don't know, 4 inches long. And that's on my ancestor altar because my ancestors were farmers. And so, my animal altars got carvings of the different animal allies that I have. And so your altar is a place that you can go. So this is your sacred spot, and it's got your sacred bits on it, and you can go and make your prayers there. So I have a votive candle going right now because I need to have a light lit for 7 days. right now. So so that's lit on one of my altars. And so so light, candles are oftentimes, 'cause I light candles for people who need healing or people who are suffering in some way. I will light candles specifically for them on my altar. Water, of course, is always, always, always a part of my altar too. Um, um, there's certain kinds of feathers that go on my altar. As you can see, I'm looking over there at my altar right now. There's certain kind of feathers that are on the altar. There's I have a healer's bundle. That's a whole nother big long story, but bundles that are for healing purposes, they might live on my altar. So your altar is a place that you feel is a special location that you can go, and you can have them in your house, you can have them outside of your house, but they're special places that you can go that are living, they're alive. They're not static, and you don't want them to become static. So that means you might be changing them up periodically. And you can be informed, you can receive from your sacred items that are on the altar, perhaps. You can make prayers. That's where you make your prayers. And if you have a hard time with that word, some people have a hard time with the word prayer. You're speaking to the holy. I mean, I don't know. You're speaking to that, all that is, whatever word works for you. Great Spirit, or all that is. I often say all that is. That covers a lot of ground. And so, but it's a way to be with the divine and be with your own divinity from within and from without. And so that's what altars are about. I encourage everybody to have an altar. It's very special, and it's like a I don't know. My altars are like my buddies, my friends, because I feel safe there, and I feel like safety and sacredness, and that's what it's like, a sanctuary to me. Which that's what sanctuary is to me, is safety and sacredness. And so my altars are my sanctuary that I can go to and trust completely when I'm at my altar.
Amanda has a ever-changing, living, breathing altar that lives in our bedroom, and it's always fun to see what's changed, what's new, what's staying. And yeah, I absolutely adore the altar that she's created for the bedroom. Amaransky says, I have an altar too, and I light a candle the moment I come home. That's lovely. Well, it's been about an hour. It's been over an hour. I want to leave it to the audience if they have any more questions for Pam. That'd be great. Otherwise, if not, all good. We'll wrap up. I did want to provide a resource before we wrap up and get out of here. There's a website I use called findaspring.com. Water and spring water has come up a lot in this episode, and I've been harvesting spring water myself since 2011. It's basically all that I put in my body as far as water is concerned since 2011 because of this beautiful website. Where it just shows where different springs are in your neck of the woods. So I recommend findaspring.com. Pam, this has been a lot of fun. Please point people in the direction where they could register for the course. I'll see if there's any questions from the audience. And yeah, why don't you just tell us a little bit more about the course and whatnot?
Sure. Well, you can go to my website, Wake Up to Nature, wakeuptonature.com. Simple, Wake Up to Nature, and you will go to the page that's the co-creative partnership mentorship, because there's two there. There's the mentorship, and then there's the self-directed, which is different than the mentorship, which is what we're doing right now. So you can go to that page, and then that tells all about the course, and you can register from there if you decide that you want to. But it's coming up. Just remind you that we're coming up real soon to that course beginning. So yeah, and then we'll just kind of some of the fun stuff we've been talking about and that's one of the things I told Mason I wanted to share with you today, is that this work with co-creative partnership, it's not really work. Right. We like to call things work. But it's really play, and it's really fun, and it's joyful, and we have these amazing joyful encounters in nature. I call them wow moments. So it's like open, let's see. Wonder opens wide. WOW. Wow. the acronym, the first letter. So you can have these amazing experiences, these amazing aha experiences. I know you all have had them before already. And this is like, nature provides this all the time, actually. You just kind of have to pay attention. Releases the oxytocin, gets it going through the bloodstream, which is the bonding hormone. It's how it's how we're hardwired to make the connection. So these up close encounters with nature where it's just, oh my goodness, it's so amazing. Anyway, I really encourage you to just get out there and have some of these moments and have those wow moments and get your oxytocin flow and get that bonding going. The restorative response, oxytocin, that's what initiates this restorative response. Doesn't that sound good? Restoration. Mm-hmm. So I encourage you all to just continue to remember and wake up and get as close with nature as you can.
I love the thought of having an oxytocic relationship with nature. I never really thought about that. When my daughter was born, I knew that chemical was flowing like crazy, but yeah, why not with nature as well?
But all the research is with kind of mother-child, but now there's some research that's happening with nature, and that how you can have these like, the sunrise is such a like, take your breath away moment. That is an oxytocic moment. Oxytocin gets released.
We're children of nature.
So yeah.
That is a lovely way to wrap up the show. Although, Pam, do you have time to answer one more guest question, or you got
Sure, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, cool. By the way, I want to say Lako says that they steep their herbal infusions overnight on their altar, which I'm going to start doing now. Thank you for the suggestion. I've never even thought about that, but what a powerful and wonderful idea.
That's a good one.
So one more question, then we'll wrap up. All right. So, can you tell us what the specialty of sage? I grew a big, beautiful sage, and I guess it is the plant of the year for me.
Are we talking what kind of sage? Salvia? Or something else that we might call sage that's not really sage?
Good. That's a great question.
Let's be clear. What plant are we talking about?
Because there's that desert sage, which is not even a mint.
It's Artemisia. It's Artemisia tridentata.
So Salvia officinalis, it looks like.
Salvia officinalis. So we're talking garden sage. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, this is a plant. I mean, there's so many of them that are very nourishing. And this is another one, this is a culinary herb. So this is one that we're putting on our food. And so another fabulous nourishing one. And there's something about the color. The color is that greenish, grayish, it's not, it's green, don't get me wrong, but it's got a certain hue to it that I love. It's just that, and it's got a little bit of fur to it. Not a lot, but it's texture. It's textured. Maybe I should use that word. It's texture. It's very textured. And the smell. So it's this plant it's very like sensual, the senses can really get engaged with it. So it's kind of like on this physical level, you can really get into it. You can really get in with sage, the color, the touch, the smell. And then if you start to chew on it, well, then you've got that whole hit too. So anyway, so it starts there. It can really start. So it really engages you on a physical level in your physical beingness. And what's beautiful about it is that, so people tend to leave it there in the, leave it in the stuffing in the turkey, so to speak, since sage is a big part of stuffing in your turkey at Thanksgiving. So anyway, but what's important to realize is this is like this is a plant that kind of gets overlooked because of its culinary aspect, and it kind of gets overlooked because it's kind of got this reputation of being one of the main herbs in the Thanksgiving. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but so anyway, it kind of gets overlooked for its other properties, which it's kind of has to do with its name. which has to do with its common name, I should say, is that it is very wise, and it's been around for a really long time. And in the old days, I mean, we're talking ancient, more old, not old last month, but old days. All of the culinary herbs were super medicinal. That's why they also got put there because they had a particular taste and smell, but it's also because they had healing properties. So this plant has deep healing properties, and it also has the energy of the sage. So it is very wise, and it has been around for so long and has been used in that way for so long. So so here's the other thing, is like, that's my experience. And I would encourage you to say, yeah, okay, and what's your experience? Because you're having experience with this plant, or otherwise you probably wouldn't ask that question. Like, if you're curious, the sage has already tweaked you and got you curious. Sage has already said, come here.
Yeah.
I want you. So you're already being called. And that's really important. When you feel that attraction like that, that's the plant calling you. And probably that plant's got something for you. Is it going to be the same as me? Maybe, but maybe not. So it's really important for you to answer the call and say, okay, here I am. I'm showing up. What would you like to share with me? So anyway, I would want everybody to ask themselves, ask the plant that's calling you, why are you calling me? Are you here for me now? Are you here for my life? Are you here for me just now? And what would that might be? And how? And always bring in reciprocity. How can I be of service to you as well? So bring that in. Anyway, that's just a little snippet.
Pam, you're so good. This is so much fun. I'll definitely have to have you back for a round 2 and maybe 3 and 4.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, I can talk to you till the cows come home, Mason. I can just keep on going.
I love it. I love it. Sphinx says sage added to sweetened tea is really amazing. That's a good idea. And just FYI, my daughter's middle name is Sage. So yeah, adore the plant as well. Sounds like people are having fun based on the chat. So thank you so much, Pam, for sharing all the wisdom, all the tidbits. Learn more at wakeuptonature.com. Sign up for the course, Co-Creative Partnership with Nature mentorship program. Enrollment closes soon, so if you're interested, definitely check it out for sure. This episode, as I mentioned, Pam, is going to go live ASAP, so we're going to get it out there as soon as possible so more and more people hear about it. Absolutely. Any last little words you want to share before we wrap up and get out of here?
Oh my goodness, everybody just shine your little light, because everybody's got that light. We are biophotonic. You do know that. You do know that it's the nucleus of the cell, DNA level. There are biophotons, particles of light. So we are literally light beings. So just shine your light as much as you can, because the world really wants your light right now.
I love that so much. Thanks, y'all, for joining us live and those watching in the future, and really appreciate all of you. Thanks, Pam, for joining me. Thanks to Amanda for editing, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Herbalist Hour. Bye, y'all.
Now.
Thanks so much for watching today's episode of the Herbalist Hour. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want more great herbal content, be sure to subscribe to our HerbRally YouTube channel. If you enjoy these Herbalist Hour episodes and you'd like to join us live, you can do so by becoming an HerbRally Schoolhouse member. Learn more at herbally.com/schoolhouse. And if you want to get your first 30 days for free, use coupon code YouTube30 at checkout. So our HerbRally Schoolhouse members get access to exclusive video classes, monographs, and a lot more herbal community discounts, along with joining these live Herbalist Hour interviews. So one more time, herbally.com/schoolhouse. Enter coupon code YouTube30 at checkout to get your first 30 days for free. All right, we'll see you in the next episode, and take care.